People think heartbreak arrives like a storm, loud, sudden, violent, but mine started with something much quieter, a whisper. Not words, not gossip, not a conversation I overheard, a shift in her voice, a softness that wasn't for me anymore, a silence that told me more than any argument ever could. Her name was Mira, and if you had met her back then, you would have said the same thing everyone else said. She's the kindest person in the room. She knew how to make strangers feel seen, how to make a simple compliment feel sincere, how to turn small acts into big gestures. But kindness can be a weapon when the wrong person holds it, and Mira held it like a blade wrapped in velvet. I didn't realize that at first. When you love someone deeply, you don't see the pattern. You only feel the impact. I didn't know she was slowly breaking me until I caught myself apologizing for things I didn't do. I didn't know she was withdrawing until I realized I was always the one reaching. And I didn't know she was choosing someone else until her silence stopped feeling peaceful and started feeling crowded. Crowded with a truth she hadn't spoken yet. The beginning of the end wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't a confrontation. It was a small dinner, normal, quiet, until she looked at me with a softness that didn't belong to us anymore and said, "I think you're too much sometimes." Too much? Me? The man who bent backwards to keep the peace? The man who made space every time she needed it? The man who shrank himself so she could take up more room? But that night, that sentence, it wasn't an attack. It was preparation. She wasn't breaking up with me. She was lowering my value so her next choice wouldn't look cruel. She wanted to break me slowly so she wouldn't look like the villain. But the truth? The moment she underestimated me, that was the moment I began planning the final decision that would break her. When I first met Mira, I thought I had found someone who understood me, someone who liked my calmness, my consistency, my steady rhythm. She used to say, "You make me feel safe." But safety wasn't what she wanted long term. She wanted spark, drama, the thrill of being chosen and rechosen over and over again. And I wasn't dramatic. I didn't compete for attention. I didn't chase her when she stepped back. I didn't beg for clarity when she went quiet. I thought that made me mature. To her, it made me boring. At first, everything was smooth. She loved how I listened, how I made time, how I remained calm when she spiraled. But slowly, she began withdrawing that softness. She stopped laughing at my jokes, stopped asking about my day, stopped holding my hand when we walked. Her affection didn't disappear. It redirected, not toward a specific person yet, but toward a craving for attention that I couldn't and wouldn't perform for. She wanted someone who chased her moods, who got jealous, who argued, who stormed out and stormed back in. She wanted noise, and I was quiet. That's when she began testing me, tiny tests, pulling away to see if I'd notice, making small jabs wrapped in honesty, comparing me to other people, how they reacted, how they flirted, how they made her feel alive. I didn't fail her tests. I refused to take them. But to her, refusing was the same as losing. She wanted reaction. I offered stability. She wanted chaos. I offered peace. And peace, to someone addicted to emotional noise, feels like neglect. She didn't fall out of love with me. She fell out of love with how calm her life became beside me, and that was the first hint that she was preparing an exit she didn't have the courage to admit yet. Once she started withdrawing, everything became a pattern. Pattern 1, the half compliments. She'd say, "You're such a good man, just a little too predictable." Or, "You're stable, but where's the fire?" As if stability was a flaw. Pattern number 2, the rewritten memories. Suddenly, things we once enjoyed together became things I forced her into. Movies we both picked became films she sat through for my sake. Trips she planned became trips she compromised on. She was rewriting our past to justify her future decisions. Pattern number 3, the emotional distance. She spoke less, smiled less, touched me less, and every time I asked if something was wrong, she'd say, "No, you're imagining it," or the classic, "You're overthinking." The very sentences people use when they don't want to tell the truth. Pattern number 4, the sudden overinvestment in someone else. There was a coworker, Armin, confident, loud, the type who told jokes too loudly and bragged like it was a personality trait. Everything I wasn't, and she began talking about him. Subtly at first, then more openly. "He's so funny. He really knows how to live. He just gets people." I wasn't jealous. I was observant, because people don't praise others that way unless they're trying to justify a feeling. Pattern number 5, the shift in her energy. When he entered a room. When Armand showed up to group events, Mira changed instantly. She laughed more loudly, stood straighter, used her bright voice, the one she used only when she wanted attention. And every time he complimented her, she glowed in a way she hadn't glowed for me in months. I wasn't blind, just patient, because I knew what was coming. But the thing about slow betrayal is this: it doesn't shock you, it erodes you. Every small dismissal adds weight to your chest. Every cold response chips something off you. Every comparison stings deeper. She wasn't cheating physically, not yet. But emotionally, she had already left. And the worst part? She wanted me to take the blame. She wanted me to feel like I pushed her away. I bored her. I failed to excite her. When really, she was building a quiet path towards someone else, one that she expected me not to notice. But I noticed everything. I always did. I just waited. Because some truths don't need to be exposed loudly. Sometimes the best revenge is letting a person walk into their own downfall while you hold the final decision that they never saw coming. The truth came out not through a message, not through someone telling me, and not through catching her physically. It came out through body language. We were at a small group dinner, the kind she used to drag me to because she said it was good for us. Her mood was strangely light, too light. She wore her hair the way he once complimented. She wore a dress she told me she outgrew emotionally, meaning she didn't want to wear it around me because it made her feel too flashy. But that night, she dressed to be seen, not by me, by him. When Armand arrived, I watched Mira change instantly. Her face brightened, her shoulders lifted, her laughter loosened. He sat across from us, and whenever he spoke, her eyes softened in a way she'd stopped softening for me. Then it happened, a small moment, invisible to everyone else. He reached for a glass. She reached for a napkin. Their hands brushed, barely. But she didn't pull away. Her fingers lingered half a breath longer than necessary, and when she finally pulled back, she smiled at him. Not flirtatious, not shy, a smile of familiarity, of comfort, of connection. And then she looked at me with an expression that said, "I hope you didn't notice." But I did. I noticed everything. When we left the dinner, she didn't hold my hand, didn't walk close to me, didn't say a word in the car, and at home, she said the sentence that confirmed everything. "I just feel like we're fading." We weren't fading. She was leaving. Not physically, not openly, but emotionally, quietly, cowardly. She wanted me to break up with her so she could step into his arms guilt-free. She wanted me to carry the blame so she could carry the freedom. She tried to break me slowly so her next move wouldn't look heartless. But she forgot something critical. I don't break quietly. I break once. And when I do, I break free. My revenge didn't start with anger. It started with clarity. I didn't shout, didn't accuse, didn't demand explanations. Why? Because confrontation gives manipulators a stage. I wasn't giving her one. Instead, I changed one thing. I stopped participating. I stopped initiating conversations, stopped filling silences, stopped carrying emotional weight, stopped making plans, stopped explaining myself. I became neutral, and neutrality is deadly to someone who thrives on emotional reactions. She began to notice. She asked, "Are you okay?" I nodded. She asked, "Are we okay?" I said, "We're fine." Nothing more, nothing less. The truth is, I wasn't being distant. I was being done. And people like Mira only realize they're losing you when your indifference threatens their control. She tried harder, cooked dinners, sent long, overly sweet messages, bought little gifts, not because she rediscovered love, but because she feared losing her leverage. She didn't want me. She wanted me available. But by then, I had already made my decision. I broke up with her on a quiet Sunday morning. No fight, no bitterness, no scene. I simply said, "I think we want different things." Her face froze instantly. Her voice cracked. "You're leaving me? Now? Why now?" Not, "Why are you hurting?" Not, "Can we fix this?" Just, "Why now?" Because her plan failed. Her slow fade didn't work. Her emotional distancing didn't push me to react. Her comparisons didn't shake my confidence. Her attachment to him didn't make me chase her. By leaving calmly, I stole the ending she wanted. She expected tears. I gave none. She expected confusion. I offered clarity. She expected a dramatic breakup scene she could use to justify her next move. I gave her peace, and peace destroyed her plan far more than anger ever could. She tried to break me slowly, but my final decision broke the story she built around me. 3 days after the breakup, she came to see me, not because she wanted me back, but because she wanted closure on her terms. She stood at my door with swollen eyes and shaking hands. But Mira wasn't crying because she missed me. She was crying because her plan backfired. She said softly, "I didn't think you'd actually leave." Of course she didn't. She thought I'd hold on while she slowly loosened her grip. She thought I'd cling while she detached piece by piece. She thought I'd fight so she wouldn't have to feel guilty for walking away, but I didn't play my assigned role. She continued, "I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted." I stopped her gently. "You wanted attention, you wanted drama, you wanted to be chased." Her face stiffened. Because that truth wasn't cruel, it was accurate. I added, "You didn't fall out of love with me. You fell in love with how someone else made you feel." Her eyes filled again, not with regret, with realization. She lost control of the narrative and of me. Her voice trembled. "Can't we talk about this?" "No," I said calmly. "There's nothing left to fix." And I meant it. Not out of anger, out of peace. Because when someone tries to break you slowly, their biggest fear is that you heal without them. And in that moment, standing at my doorway, she saw it clearly. I was already healing, already moving on, already at peace. And that peace broke her far more than any revenge ever could. After Mira, my life became quieter, but not empty. I rediscovered myself piece by piece. I stopped shrinking my personality to keep someone comfortable, stopped bending my boundaries to keep someone calm, stopped excusing behavior that drained me slowly. I started doing things alone without feeling lonely, started reconnecting with old friends without feeling guilty, started exploring parts of life I'd put on pause to fit her rhythm. Every day I felt something lift off my chest, a weight I didn't even know I'd been carrying. Mira didn't ruin my life. She revealed what kind of life I should never settle for again, and that lesson stayed with me far longer than the pain. Here's what I learned. Some people won't break you violently. They break you slowly, softly, quietly. They pull one piece at a time so the final collapse looks like your fault. They make you feel too much so their choices feel justified. But here's the truth. Someone who tries to break you slowly has already broken themselves. Your calm exit is the revenge they never saw coming. Your silence is the closure they can't manipulate. Your peace is the punishment they didn't expect. And your decision to walk away is what breaks the story they tried to control. If someone ever tries to weaken you quietly, don't beg, don't chase, don't fight for space in a heart that's already left. Just walk away. Because sometimes, the quietest move is the one that destroys their entire game.